How Uber and Lyft weaponizes its system against its drivers. That's what we're going to talk about today. What up, folks? Once again, it is your boy Tim with another ride sharing video. This video is primarily tailored to new and prospective drivers, but many of my veteran drivers will clearly know what I'm talking about. I invite you in the comment section to add different aspects of how the system is weaponized that you may feel yours truly has missed. Once again, this is tailored to newer drivers. So what do I mean when I say weaponize? What is meant by weaponizing the system against drivers? Well, weaponizing the system is essentially telling the driver information or doing things through the system, through the algorithms, to get drivers to behave in ways that they otherwise would not have. Oftentimes in ways that are not profitable for the driver, or perhaps not even safe. But because of misinformation through either lack of transparency or deceit, the driver is likely to do something that is not in his own best interest. So I'm going to give you 5 different ways that this takes place. As I stated before, veteran drivers in the comments, feel free to add a few, or you can comment on one that I may have missed or dropped that you feel differs from your own personal opinion. I always invite dissenting opinion on every live, and I do respond to the comments in kind. Number 1. Distance of trips. When you are sent a trip from the ride sharing app, it generally will tell you how far the trip may be. Oftentimes it may tell you, depending on if you're driving for Uber and Lyft, they don't provide the exact same information, but you might be told to complete this trip, it takes 10 minutes. You may be told this trip is 7 miles. You know, the passenger is 4.5 miles from you. That information, particularly the time it takes to complete the trip, is often not true. It's often greatly underestimated. Why would they do that? Because if you realize the trip took 20 minutes instead of 10 minutes for that same amount of money being offered, you might not take it. Maybe you're willing to drive 10 minutes to make $7, but you think driving 20 minutes to make $7 is not worth your time. So what do? They tell you the trip takes 10 minutes. Now, many drivers, you don't have to drive in ride sharing for very long to see what I'm talking about. I would say just a few trips, you will quickly realize that the times they're predicting it takes you to get to the passenger or complete the trip are often always underestimated. And like I stated, it's because if you had the real time, it might exclude you from doing some of the trips to begin with. Number 2, how do they weaponize the system? Stars, ratings. Stars and ratings. Pick up a passenger, drop a passenger off. You're hoping that passenger gives you a 5-star rating. Well, how do you weaponize the rating system? Well, once again, as I stated earlier, the weaponization comes from the form of making you behave, leading you to behave in ways that you would not normally do because it's either not profitable or not safe. Maybe you would tell a passenger no to a request. Maybe you would not take a trip. Maybe you would not let someone add a stop. But because you fear the rating system, you are trying to avoid getting a low rating. You're doing things that are not in your own best interest. That is how they use the rating system against drivers, because the drivers know that if their rating falls below a certain threshold, they could lose their ability to take trips altogether, being removed from the platform. Uber and Lyft knows that drivers are chasing ratings, chasing stars. So this is the perfect method to get you to do things you don't want to do. Because they know the drivers do not want to receive a low rating. And like I just stated, you get a passenger in your vehicle, for instance. Maybe the passenger decides to change the trip and make you go to a neighborhood you do not want to go to. Or maybe you have to get home to let your children in after school and you need to be home in 10 minutes. And the passenger changes it to a trip that takes you 15, 20 minutes. Immediately you would say no. But now in the back of your head, you're thinking, if they give me a low rating for putting them out the vehicle, it could lead to repercussions down the line. So now your children are going to sit on the porch for 5 or 10 minutes until you can get home. This is what I'm talking about, folks. There are a lot of examples. Veteran drivers in the comments, let me know, how do you feel about the stars in rating system? Have you ever had a rating fall below a certain threshold and receive a threat from the ride-sharing companies? Just wanted to throw that out there because passengers do often ask us to go above and beyond. Could you wait an hour while I go in Walmart? Now, typically the response is a polite, hell no. But we know if we do not wait, that passenger is going to get out of the vehicle and give us a very low rating. So there are drivers, not this one, not the one you're looking at, but there are drivers that are reporting that they have let passengers go into a supermarket. I just saw a video the other day, which is why I'm telling you, and waited on a customer for 1 hour. We're earning often in most markets less than 25 cents a minute, waiting for a passenger for 1 hour. In my market, 9 cents per minute. So if you sit in your vehicle and wait for that passenger to come out for an hour, that is $5.40 you made sitting in your car waiting on that passenger. Hopefully you didn't have the car on, running the heat or air condition. Otherwise, that's a negative. What you did for that passenger actually cost you money in the process. But that is something that drivers do because they want those high ratings and high stars. Can't pay your rent with stars and ratings. Next, in the system, when you are sent trips, sometimes you'll see something that says that the passenger is quote unquote a top tipper. That is a lie. That information is based on nothing, literally nothing. If you've received that, state in the comments, folks. Everyone has seen at least one passenger listed as a top tipper. Based on what you have seen, let me know if maybe I'm getting it wrong. Have you seen the likelihood of passengers labeled top tippers proving that rating? Is that what you observe? When you see a passenger that says top tipping, what is the likelihood that they're actually going to tip? In my market, that's almost a sign to say don't expect anything from this passenger. But once again, that top tipper label is being weaponized. What did I say? To get you to do things that you might not otherwise do. Meaning that, let's say, for instance, you don't want to drive more than 5 or 6 miles to pick up a passenger because at that point it starts to not be profitable. Suddenly you get a request from a passenger that's 10 miles away, but it's listed as top tipper. Okay, well, the normal pay is not enough, but if they tip me $5 or so, it's actually now worth my while. So they put that label there to get you to consider doing a trip that you might not otherwise do. Folks see top tipper, they automatically assume they're going to earn a little bit extra than the typical trip. And that information apparently is based on nothing at all whatsoever. But like I stated, veteran drivers in the comments, let me know where you see I might be getting it wrong. Maybe in your market, when you see top tipper, all of the passengers that get in your vehicle with that label do tip you. Let me know if I'm getting it wrong. I would love to see that. Once again, like I stated, this video was designed for newer drivers considering getting into business, just to help them out so they don't learn the hard way like many of us veteran drivers did. Next, surge pricing and bonuses. Now, if you're a veteran driver, you already know where I'm going with this. How do they weaponize surge prices and bonuses? Once again, to get you to behave or do something that you normally would not otherwise do. If an area is surging, let's say you're sitting in the center of city, and on the east side, it's surging 4 or 5 times. Well, you want to be on the east side. What does that make you do? What does that make some drivers do? They will literally drive empty to the east side and sit in that area. That makes it clear to Uber and Lyft. If we have an area of town that we want more drivers to relocate to, put a surge up there. And then when we get enough drivers in that area, remove the surge. So now you have left the center of city, wasted fuel to get to the east side, and the surge disappears. They have essentially relocated you at your expense, and you didn't gain anything out of it. Every veteran driver that's watching the video will likely agree with that. We've all seen surges come and go. And what is particularly egregious about this, you could be sitting right next to another driver that's logged in, and the surge that you see on your app is not on his app, or vice versa. Making it clear that surge pricing you're seeing on your app is literally based on nothing. Maybe they just need 20 drivers over there, and you are one of the 20 that see it in your app. The guy sitting next to you is not one of them. But that makes it clear that there is no surge happening over there. Just for you newer drivers, I cannot give you any better advice than this. Never chase a surge or a bonus. Just don't do it. It's just a waste of money. Never chase a surge or a bonus. Not only do you not know if it's still going to be there when you get there, it's not uncommon to be in a surging area and get trips from areas that are not. You don't have any idea where the trips coming to you are going to come from. Just because you are in an area doesn't mean the next trip is going to come from that area. The lack of transparency with these apps is off the chain. We don't know as drivers how they're coming up with their maneuvers and moves at all. And we'll talk about that as we continue. Last but not least, streak bonuses. If you drive for Lyft, you're aware of what a streak bonus is. You do 3 trips in a row, you get paid a certain amount on top of the price of the trips to complete those trips. How do they weaponize streak bonuses? What have I said throughout the video? To get you to do things and behave in manners that you normally would not do. You need to complete 3 trips in a row to make an extra 15 bucks. You've completed 2 trips. They send you a trip that requires you drive 15 miles to pick up somebody that's going 40 miles completely outside of your area. Completely unprofitable trip, because now you got to drive 40 miles back. You got to waste 15 miles empty going to get them. Everything about it is unprofitable. But you are in a streak. You need to complete that 3rd trip to get the $15 bonus. Otherwise, the first 2 trips you did might be a loss as well. The streak bonus incentivizes you to now take that 3rd highly unprofitable trip. Many drivers, and once again, veteran drivers, have you seen this happen? Where all of a sudden you get in a streak and the 3rd trip is either way the hell away, it takes a hell of a long time to get it, or it is a completely unprofitable trip. Just something about that 3rd trip makes you almost wish you had never taken on the streak to begin with. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And did I miss one? Did I add too many? I invite your comments, and as always, I respond in kind. Once again, it is your boy Tim. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.